Some say he can swim 10,000 lengths and not even be tired. That he taught Magnus Carlsen how to deep squat for improved bowel movements, and that his nipples can cut glass. Of course, I'm talking about Hans Niemann, the future world chess champion of the world, and this is what all the fuss is about. Games like this, attacks like this. He played it in Titled Tuesday in August. His opponent was Matvey Galchenko. Watch this for a demolition job. He opens with the king pawn, online chess. His opponent whispers on guard because he's playing the French defence, or le français, if you can say it in the proper way. I certainly can't. And after Hans sets up the connect 4, he only goes and wins himself another play date with Mini Magnus on the beach. They love to build sandcastles together, really inseparable. Now we see the knights develop here, and after pawn g3, something weird this way comes a hyper fianchetto. Was it a mouse slip? Stuff gets really strange now. This one, given the question mark, the most logical move in the world. Apparently pushing the rook pawn was stronger, but okay, we're mere mortals. Niemann now castles the king, the knight develops, and we get Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one. Now if the knight hits f5, you could potentially take. Perhaps that's what this is all about. Also, there's some funky lines with pawn c4. Good luck understanding that. But this wasn't played. Instead, we get knight g6. Bit of an odd move when you've got a pawn sitting here and you're not exactly going f6 in a hurry. But Niemann's like, look, I'm the biggest oddball around here. I'm going to meet your odd move and up you one. Where's the bishop going? I got no clue. We now see the tension in the centre resolved, and bishop b4 developing with a whoosh, rook under fire, blocked by knight to c3 po, and this is very logical. You open the bishop, you open the rook, you look for play here. Classic, standard, but this isn't standard. Pawn h4. Real modern chess here, you know, bouncing back out here and back and this and this. I mean, you show this game to a Karpov or a traditional, I don't know, Petrosian or something back in the day, they'd be thinking, what is this? How can this be the world's top grandmothers? Now we see the bishop develop, and even this one's a bit surprising because the knight can now jump in and it hits the pawn and hits the bishop. Let's back up one move, sorry. Just realised, why not take here and win a pawn? Never analysed this. Let's do it on the fly. Bishop d2 is good, apparently. Rook a3, it says. What if you just drop back and stay on the file? Rook b1, queen c7. I don't know. I guess maybe takes here and you crash through. Looks like white's getting some initiative for the open lines. Anyway, question answered. Instead, the game proceeded like this. Now the pawn is defended. Apparently knight a4 was actually stronger, but let's crack on because now the bishop bear is picked up, the queen recaptures, and this knight rotates back into the game. Queen f4 activates and queen a5 now mega triple stacks the pressure on this knight. Partly why I didn't explore this, because it's about to die anyway, this b pawn, because most humanoid people would go queen d2, rook e c1. But Hans, the ninja Niemann, doesn't defend that knight. He plays bishop d3. He lets the pawn drop, and he's not done there. First he whispers, do you even rook lift, bro? He's in incredible shape right now. I mean, look at those abs. Now we see pawn b6 to defend this one, of course. And now, after this one's defended, rook attacked, you might expect r2d2, another homage to Star Wars, but no. Hans Niemann plays rook b3, allowing this, this, and this. These endgames are completely busted for white. Two connected ones, running very fast, especially the a-pawn. Niemann's now all in on his kingside counterattack. You can't quite yet do this and hit the queen because knight takes and you're also on the white queen, so black's doing great here. But what you can do, well, nothing special actually. King g2, definitely shouldn't have built up that move. Now we see queen b4 stepping away from the rook attack, and just for some weirdness, knight h2. Now it's looking for this kind of thing. The reality is there is no killer attack here. The pawns are too strong. It's a lost game. But watch how Niemann now drums up the play. Queen g4 to start with. And strongest move is the very scary looking castles. If in doubt, do it, they say. But okay, you got to have nerves of steel or something of steel to be doing this one. But yeah, there's nothing. Queen f4, bishop b5 can swap an attacker. This is just running so fast. Where's the knockout? Let's not keep going because g6 was played. Queen f4, eyeing these dark squares, and this just had to be played. So solid and steady. But instead, we get h5, big stinky hole now left on g5. The knight rotates back therefore, and best is to keep pushing. Knight jumps, converging here, but now knight f5. If takes, gf, you're okay, you're alive. White can't go all in on this, the a pawn is running, then the counterplay starts. So instead of knight f5, the move to play, we saw the seahorse spawned, and it's really a bad one. Rotating away from the king's defense, the knight now hops of course, and again, if you want to stay roughly in the game, castle's best or queen e7. Neither of them played. Rook f8 was selected. They're getting pretty low on time now, but there is a knockout shot. Can you find it here? Very well done if you've thought of the move. Knight takes on f7 of course.
This I missed.
Rip open that man cave, and after the rook recaptures, not best, but let's stick with what happened. Bishop takes on g6 is the follow-up. Of course the rook's now pinned. You're about to crash through, but there's something very cool on the way, because the king should sidestep here, but queen takes on d4 was played, and now Niemann plays my favourite move of this game. He's thinking, if I take on f7 with check immediately, king gets his running shoes on. So we see the spectacular collinear move, queen f6. Of course the rook can't take, the king can't run away, but hang on, what about knight d8 to cover this rook? But just look at that move, it kind of offends the eyes, right? A little bit like this shirt. I may be in the middle of a midlife crisis, not sure. Hair's starting to thin. Do let me know if you can let me in on the symptoms of a midlife crisis. Help me determine if I'm in one right now. We see rook f3 to pile on the pressure here, and queen c5 is best. Just cover, especially the f8 square. But not played. a4 on the board, and you've not just let white have a great attack here. You've blundered into mate in 7. Can you find the only winning move here?
The only winning move.
It's the only move?
The only winning move.
It's the only move?
The only winning move.
It's the only...
It's queen h8 check. Now the rook is pinned, can't cover. If the queen was here, of course it could help out. That was really the point. So this is the only one. And now you take here with check. King can't run away, completely boxed in. So knight takes forced, and now you get the check, not letting the king run away once more. If you go here, that's mate in 1. So this was played, and now again, don't take with the queen, king runs away. So this was played. King here, bishop back, and we get this standard checkmating motif.
Chess speaks for itself.
Is it something special doing this against Magnus, Hans?
That is how Hans the Ninja Niemann wrapped up this game. His opponent absolutely smoked. Don't poke the moke. You woke the moke. He's a serious mokey bear. And if you want to see another incredible game between Hans Niemann and Hikaru Nakamura, have a look at the video on screen. Thanks very much for watching and see you soon. Cheers.